Our speakers today are pretty near and dear to my heart, and wait till you hear their story here. And you may notice we've got a mother-daughter team up here, and what was just this past Sunday, Mother's Day, so there's a theme going on here. Fancy That is a successful mother and daughter small business located in Prescott. Fancy That has 2 locations across the street from each other with fashion and home decor. Sarah Murray, owner of Fancy That, opened her first location in 1985 at the age of 24 in Tempe, Arizona. With an interior design degree from Scottsdale Community College and 7 years of experience in home decor and furniture retail industry, Sarah had several locations throughout the valley, having up to 5 locations at one time. Who knew, right? Sarah pioneered pop-up locations and seasonal stores in some of the predominant malls in the Phoenix area. In 2003, Sarah made the best decision of her life to locate here in Prescott. That's with her new home and opening of Fancy That, location in downtown Prescott on Granite Street. Sarah has 33 successful years in retail business in Arizona as Fancy That. Fancy That is a family business. Sarah and her husband Dan and daughter Amanda work in the business together full-time. Amanda has grown up in the retail industry and has a bachelor's degree in business marketing from Grand Canyon University. Fancy That is proof that a locally owned brick and mortar, Shop Prescott, store can survive and thrive in the digital age. Come hear what we have to say this afternoon. And I just want to say one thing. I've been in the business. I've been in the chamber world for well over 25 years. And I have never met such a dynamic team. And to think that they have 2 stores, not just one, and in the retail business, off the beaten path, so to speak. You're not in the main square, but still able to make a successful round. And I've just applaud you for that. Congratulations.
Well, thank you and welcome. I have to get used to this mic because I am a talker, as most of you know, but I'm not used to talking up in the front of 130 people. So can everybody hear me? Is that good? Because I know sometimes we're turning the mics and it's muffly, and other times it seems to be pretty clear. So thank you. And I have my notes, and like I say, this is stretching me out of my comfort zone, but I enjoy it. It's getting me out of that box, and we are so excited to be here and that you guys took out your time of your busy day to be here. So we're hoping to share with you things that we have found that have worked for our success and our small business, and that you guys can relate to some of those things as well, that it just doesn't relate to us. We started asking customers and friends, we've been asked to do this talk, and we don't know what to talk about. There's so many things that we could share. And so some of our questions and things that we've come up with are things that came from all of our customers or friends and said, oh, we love this part of your story, or we love this. So we'll let our story begin.
So how did you get the background and knowledge to start Fancy That?
Can you hear Amanda? Okay, we'll start over because it's like she has such a sweet, quiet voice, and it's new to her too.
So how did you get the background and skills necessary?
Okay, try again.
I can hear myself.
She can hear herself.
How did you get the background and skills necessary to start Fancy That?
Well, how did I get the background and skills necessary to start Fancy That? Well, my senior year in high school, I had a fabulous opportunity. I was part of the HERO program. And unfortunately, I don't think they have as many of those programs today in high school. But HERO stood for Home Economics and Related Occupation. And my desire was to learn about the interior design industry. So I was offered 2 jobs as like an internship for my high school year. One was at Walsh Brothers commercial office building downtown right on Central. And the other job was in a small design firm, Environmental Designs, at also on Central and Camelback. I chose the small business because I really felt I could learn the whole business. Working at Walsh Brothers, I felt like I was going to get stuck in the file room, and that just was not me. I like change and learning and doing all kinds of things. So that small business, I had fabulous employees. It was Elaine Waxman. I don't know if any of you know of her years and years ago. She did a ton of predominant design. We did a lot of office, environmental, that open concept back then. I mean, we're talking, this is 1979. And so I learned what were purchase orders. I learned what invoices were. I was in charge of the sample room. I pulled their swatches. I updated price lists. They let me do some drafting, which I equally was taking in high school. And the biggest bonus was they took me to market with them. So that was such an honor that they thought that much of me to take me to LA and experience firsthand at that age, where do designers go buy their furniture? It was just awesome. They equally bought my first year, I guess sentimental, my first semester of college books, and that was so sweet. So on from there, I did go to Scottsdale Community College and finished my degree in interior design. So let's see, where are we at now, Amanda? Get me back.
Where did you work after college?
She told me I wouldn't follow my notes. So,
Where did you work after college?
well, after college, I did get married very young at 19, and that was in 1980. So kind of during, this is my last semester or so of college, I worked at Design Source Furniture, and I don't know if any of you know that in Tempe. They just recently have retired and closed, but they had a good long run. I was their only 21-year-old employee at the time. They would leave the business to me. They would go to Wisconsin. They got married. They'd be gone for 2 weeks, and all they would say, "Can you believe she's only 21 years old?" And again, I really learned the small business. We'd unload the sofas coming off of the truck. We'd set the visuals and do the store displays. So I learned all the aspects of, again, another business.
So how did you get the idea to open Fancy That?
How did I get the idea to open Fancy That? Well, working at the furniture store, they really specialized in furniture, sofas and dining rooms. Tons of Oak Entertainment Centers were back then. And they had no desire or maybe passion or didn't want to the time or invest in the home decor, the accessories. And all of those things to me are what makes a house a home. So it really gave me the idea, let's open up an accessory store. I would go on design calls, and they allowed me to sell window coverings. And I would sell the window coverings. My husband would do the installations. So that leads us to, next question.
How did you get the funding to open Fancy That?
The funding, well, one, just that I mentioned, I was actually questioned here, and I know some of this you kind of just heard, but I was only 24 when I did open my first store. And we went to the bank, and the bank pretty much laughed at you like, well, what collateral do you 24-year-olds have, you know? So, and they don't want inventory as collateral. They suggested an SBA loan. I looked at all that paperwork and said, oh my gosh, you know, I don't have time to do this and fill this all out and take 3 to 6 months to do this. So I am a creative person, and I creatively had to come up with our financing. We had saved $10,000 from selling our window coverings and my husband installing them. And we refinanced our cars for $10,000. That was an easy way that we could come up with more money. I had one grandma lend me $5,000. One grandma gave me $5,000. So that gave me a total of $30,000 in 1984, I guess it was, to open Fancy That. So 33 years ago.
So how did you invest the $30,000?
So did I invest my first $30,000? Well, I went to my first market in Dallas, Texas, and I spent $20,000 of my $30,000 to buy inventory for the store. And just a quick story. I don't know how we're going to do on time here, but I was 24 at my first market in the Dallas Market Center. Standing in one booth to this day, I can recall a customer also standing there that had her own store. She had this gray ponytail, and I'm, 24 years old at that time. And I don't know if she was 40, 50, and at that time, you had to have credit reference sheets, who you buy for and how long you've been in business and all those things. And I'm like, I really didn't have any of that to provide yet. And she shared with me that she had been doing the business for 20 years. And to this day, I was 24. That was like this lady's almost, my life is what she had been doing it. So it was such an impact on me. I can still visualize her standing in that booth and that gray ponytail. And today, if I didn't color my hair, I would have that gray ponytail. So, but my daughter won't let me won't let me go gray yet.
When did you open the first store?
So, when did we open the first Fancy That? It actually kept getting prolonged because the building in Tempe we chose, they had delays and delays. So we had this 20,000 worth of inventory in our garage for a long time, because what can you do? Until the construction site was done, it was there. But fortunately, it wasn't seasonal, it wasn't perishable, so it was good. But I think I hopped around how we spent our 30,000. We spent 20 on inventory, and then we had 10,000 to spend on our carpet, our sign, your counters, and whatever your props that you bought. And my husband inserted today that first sign I bought 33 years ago for my very first Fancy That, those letters are what today hang on our store in Prescott. For the past 15 years, they've hung on our store in Prescott. So there are some investments, and keeping the same name does pay off, and you get to keep it a long time. So back on track, get me on track.
When did you first open?
Well, our plan was to open Saturday, September 14th, and we were in an office complex by the Real Salado Bank building. So it was a different type of a strip center. We had a pond, we had a duck and decanter, a high-rise office building, and we were, finishing touches on that Friday the 13th, planning to open Saturday the 14th. Well, all these ladies from the office building came at our windows, just pounding and just looking in the windows. We want in, we want to shop. So as I couldn't help but let them in. So they came in, and that was our first dollar. And so we unofficially opened on Friday the 13th. And I have to say, it's been a great thing. We equally opened in Prescott on Friday the 13th, years later. So Friday the 13th has had some good memories for us. Well, and also I have on my notes today, if you guys are down Granite Street, we are still very much known to work late most evenings, and if you're a customer and are wandering, we're going to let you in. So I think that's a tip. We're not there sitting waiting for customers. We're working, but we keep our doors open, and we welcome customers for most any day of the week, because that's when we get to do our work, is into the late evenings. Okay, where are we?
How long have you been in business now?
How long? I have been doing Fancy That, as you heard earlier, 33 nonstop years. There has not been a day that I didn't have at least one continually Fancy That open. The only days we close, basically at this point, are Thanksgiving and Christmas. So there's occasional the Easters, we get all the people, oh, are you going to be in town? Our relatives are in, we want to be there. So it's hard even for me to believe it's like 33 years of my life I've done Fancy That. Let's see, we were in Phoenix, how long?
For 18 years.
We were in Phoenix 18 years with up to 5 locations. We started a lot of the programs in the major malls when they put the carts. And this was all BC, before child. Child is 25, not quite a child anymore. But we had carts in like Fashion Square, PV Mall. We always had our main store, but these were like satellites. I actually had my own business of designing T-shirts that we sold on the carts. We had a bump out store in Metro Center. My husband worked for the city of Tempe, so he would go around at night and collect all the money and drop off inventory, work his night shift, go home and sleep, get up and do it over again. So we did pioneer some of those traditional, they call them bump outs back then, where today it's kind of those pop-up, temporary holiday stores. So we definitely kept busy. And now we've been in Prescott, it'll be 15 here June, and love it. We are so Prescott hometown proud. We love being here in Prescott. And 4 years ago, we had the opportunity to purchase the building across the street. So we are back to offering our furniture again. And I think we talk about that a little bit later of how we transition from being gifts and home decor and there. So we are at 2 locations now currently. So Amanda, how long have you been involved in Fancy That?
I've been involved in it 25 years, and some say I barely look 25. Well, I am 25. I was born into the business. Sarah and Dan stopped on the way home from the hospital with me at the store. So I was born into it and became a workaholic ever since then.
Yes, the window said, it's a girl, it's a girl. They had banners all over.
And then I started ringing up customers when I was 5. And then the first market I went to, I was 6 months old. And then after that, I started buying when I was 8 years old.
Yeah, Dan reminded her when she was 6 months old, they wouldn't let her into the market, literally, because they won't let babies come in. Which, if you're carrying them on a pack, that's good, but strollers at market, that just doesn't work. We're busy walking, you don't want to run into everybody. So Dan said he had to babysit Amanda and drop her back off for me because I was still breastfeeding her at like 6 months. And then, yes, at 8, we went to Dallas, and during that time of our life, the store sold what age Amanda was. So we had baby clothes. We had 2 to 3-year-old clothes, 5, 6. When she was 8, I can still picture her in this one showroom in Dallas, because at that point they did let her in as a guest pass, and she literally was picking clothes and putting them on a rack. When you go to an apparel market, they put racks up, and then you pick what you want, and they show it to you. And she literally was sitting there picking out clothes. What did you do? She actually got to meet the owners of Brighton. Brighton has been a fabulous line for us. She met Jerry Cole and Laura, his assistant, at the age 8. And what did you draw for them?
I drew them different sketches of shoes and sunglasses and different stuff.
Yeah. She was totally into market. She was sketching them, yes. Shoes and sunglasses, that's what she picked. And I bet we'd find them somewhere if we looked really hard. So Amanda has had that opportunity to go to markets from very young. At 11, she was at the Atlanta market, because some of the summertime she could get away from school to go. But she would be picking out dog keychains, or what else did you pick out?
Yeah, jewelry and all kinds of.
And everybody on the elevators or escalators, they all knew Amanda. She was the youngest buyer out there, and she knew what was to buy. She knew. She did great. And Lizzie, did you talk about ringing up customers?
Yep.
Okay.
What makes Fancy That successful?
What makes Fancy That a successful small business? Well, constantly being able to evolve and adapt to the market, knowing our customers and target our market demographics. Customers are always changing. Prescott people move in, people come, they're leaving, coming, and so it's constantly kind of keeping up with what's going on with that. We spend a lot of hours in our store. It's not a 9-to-5 job. We're constantly managing the store on a daily basis, staying totally connected to our business. It's like you can't back away from any section because it tumbles fairly quickly. It's a team effort. We are a family business. We couldn't and wouldn't be doing it if it wasn't to have Amanda and Dan, because we all have our parts within the business. So having your own business and doing it all on your own, it is even that much more challenging. So a little tip story is back in our 2008. We all know how the economy just crashed. And I look back going, how did we survive that? What did we do to survive that? And I had a friend say, oh, share this story. What did you do when that crashed? And one of the things I did was I came up with a campaign, and it was an SOS campaign. So Save Our Store was my main thought, and we went with a sailor theme. We had big banners with a boat Bowie, let's see, what else was that? Oh, all the employees wore sailor hats, and it was very festive. All the years, we are a very creative. Amanda's art teacher shared with her in high school, she was the most thematic student he had ever had. So the campaign was sell our stuff, save our store or sell our blank, but stuff is what we were referencing. And the public really responded to it. It was great to see how many people came in, how many people did come in and buy something. And it was really cute. We had a lot of really elderly people come in and say, we love your store. We want downtown Prescott to thrive. We're so glad you're here. And then they'd walk out without buying anything. And I was like, thank you. We're so glad you took the time to come and share that with us. But obviously there were enough people that did come and did support us, and we did survive the 2008. But it was lean and trim, had to really cut back and focus. And at that point, we realized we needed to switch. What we were selling at that point was furniture. We were selling Brighton, a little fashion, but mainly furniture and home decor still at that point. So with losing 9 furniture stores, we had to switch up. So we moved on to selling more fashion and more what this main store has of today.
Another question we get asked all the time is, how do we decide what to buy?
Well, that's a good thing. We have to keep an eye on what customers want, and I'll try to move a little quicker here because she's giving me like this 5-minute. Thank you. We love asking customers what they want. We try to track the trends. It's interesting over the years watching all the trends of how they changed. I mean, how many of you had those white geese in your kitchen in the 80s? I mean, I think everybody did. We moved to roosters, we moved to the Tuscan, the wine, and now we've landed on farmhouse, which is so fitting for our ranches and our homes here in Prescott. Let's see. Customers ask us, where do we buy our stuff?
We travel all across the country to find different things to sell, and we added it up recently, and Sarah spent over 5 years of her life at market buying for the store.
Yeah, that's a long time. That really hit me. 5 years of the 33 years I was spent in hotels at various cities buying for Fancy That. And it's an 8 in the morning to an 8+ at night. So you get up and it's, yes, definitely a shopping circuit we do.
What are some of your strengths that have made Fancy That successful over the years?
Oh gosh, I think we've touched on several of those. Just customer service, really investing money to make money. A quick story, we had initial cards, and we would sell and sell. I don't know, some of you probably know it. Carol Wilson, they were ABCs, nice black note cards. Sold the heck out of those. I totally would just keep restocking them. Where I had a girlfriend that had a store, I'm like, no, they're selling, but I have all this other stuff. I want the customers to buy all this other stuff. I said, no, you gotta sell, keep restocking what sells. That hopefully then pays for the merchandise that doesn't sell. So it's those theories and those mindsets that really help what separates certain people of their buying techniques than other buying.
How do you market the business?
Well, we do lots of advertising. We like to come up with fun campaigns. We really like to believe in our product. We wear what we sell. Our employees do. I mean, I tell them there are walking models. People want to know what's strong and that. I mean, we do print. Let's see. Digital, social media. There's so many aspects of it. Amanda even had a customer.
Last week actually that came in and said, "Oh, I heard you on the radio." Well, we haven't advertised on the radio for over 10 years. So lasting ad campaigns, they last forever in people's mind, and it may take 10 years for them to come in, but they did make it in.
But we're fortunately still in business 10 years ago for them to come. And, fancy that. In any business, it's really good to be involved in the community. We have some of our favorite charities. Just quickly, we have the Launchpad Fashion Show happening this Friday, St. Michael's. All the money we're raising are for kids' scholarships for camp. We love working on the committees. We've been helping out the Big Brothers Big Sisters on the gala committee. We love that challenge of figuring out how creatively can we get people to give and have fun, and changing it up a little bit. And the other thing is when people ask a business for donations, it's like give according to the theme. Don't give your stuff that didn't sell. Don't give your broken stuff. Give something that represents your business, because if they don't get to buy it or win it at the event, that means they may come to you to then buy it at this point. What, she's raising her hand back there. We would love to, but we're just so busy, that we're hoping to acquire again back to hiring. If anybody has that passion and that design. I've done design over the year, but right now the 2 stores keep us pretty busy. We do need to hire a manager to free us from some of those things. Yeah. And then the most asked question too is, do you sell on the internet? I mean, we get that daily.
And again, we're so busy with our store that there's not enough of us to start another almost business in itself to do online sales.
Yeah, it could be a whole nother business, but I don't think we're quite ready for that. So how many hours?
How many hours do we spend on average with this business?
Well, our life, it's a 24/7. Fancy that it's just totally our life. But when you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. So with that saying, we just appreciate you. And I don't know how many people in here are wearing something for Fancy That today. Earlier, stand up. Who's wearing a piece of jewelry or clothing or shop at Fancy That? Or no Fancy That. There you go. You girls bring name tags in, and we have a treat for you there. Yes. So we appreciate all of you coming, and we appreciate you all shopping local. And we hope some of our fun tips, you heard a little bit about Fancy That and our 33 years, that can hopefully help you in business, whether it's your real estate, mortgage, anything. It's just connecting to people and having fun with it. It is our life, and it's a lot of work. And we just we're about out of time here. I've just got a couple models. One of our models ended up in Tucson, and we were just going to show you. We've got a couple mannequins, our home store, and we've got Annie here. Annie just did a photo shoot too for Prescott Living for their summer, and Danielle, and we have Danielle with a brand new outfit. And then, of course, Amanda and I have on, we're always dressed head to toe, Fancy That. And we love to promote our store that we can dress our senior in high school. We've got our gold digger here, grateful. And we also can dress our seniors. So we try to go from high school to our seniors and even retired people. So we do have a lot of diversity in Fancy That. So thank you again for coming and listening to our story.